Hello, I'm Dr. Crystal. This Black History Month, as we continue to shine a light and focus on mental health awareness among the African American community, let's talk about finding a culturally competent therapist. There are some steps you can take to find a culturally sensitive therapist, but first, let's talk about why it is important to do so. First, it's important for a therapist and a client to have a therapeutic alliance. That means that the client feels heard and understood by the therapist, and that they trust the therapist has their best interests in mind. Clients who don't feel as though their therapist understands them are more likely to drop out of treatment early because they couldn't form a therapeutic alliance. Second, let's talk about cultural competence. Let's be clear that cultural competence is not just about race. A culturally competent therapist should recognize and respect the beliefs, perspectives, and values of clients from a particular race, ethnicity, or region. Their clients should also be confident that the therapist is able to address topics like white privilege or oppression. A culturally competent therapist should understand their client's cultural background well enough to be able to tailor their treatment approach accordingly. A culturally competent therapist should be comfortable addressing a variety of topics, including but not limited to age, disability, race, gender, SES, and sexual orientation. Now that we've talked about why cultural competence is important, let's discuss how do you find a culturally competent therapist. Look for someone who makes it a priority to be culturally sensitive. That doesn't necessarily mean that they need to have the same background or that they need to be the same race as you. There are many ways to find a therapist. Ask your physician for names of therapists. Look at online directories and ask friends if they have anyone they recommend. When you find a therapist you may want to work with, ask questions. Some therapists offer free phone consultations, or you might use your first appointment to ask questions as well. Ask them how familiar they are with your culture or background. Ask them about their training and education in working with diverse populations. If you feel you aren't a good match with your therapist, you can always change to a different provider. Finding the right therapist for you is worth the work. When you find someone who understands you, you'll be much more likely to make progress in treatment. If you have been questioning whether you should seek out a mental health provider and you are willing to give journaling a try, please pre-order a copy of one of my newly created mental health journals and get on the path to a healthier you. This has been Mental Health in a Minute with Dr. Crystal. Thanks for watching. Remember, fear is contagious, but so is joy.